Joe Biden, who led the polls by a wide margin, suffered a major setback. Because there were some C-19 infected patients in their camp, and also another major scandal involving Joe Biden in addition to the Russian scandal. On September 14, the New York Post reported that an email contained conclusive evidence that Joe Biden's son Hunter Biden had signed a contract with a manager of a Ukrainian energy company. Biden's Ukraine connection, raised by the New York Post, is suspected of exerting external pressure on the Ukrainian government to prevent local prosecutors from investigating Ukrainian energy companies. The New York Post published an email in May 2014 from a senior Ukrainian energy company, Burisma, to Biden's son Hunter Biden. We urgently need your advice on how to use your influence. Burisma asked Hunter for help again. When Ukrainian prosecutors launched an investigation into Burisma, they sent a letter titled The Urgent Problem, asking Biden to resolve the problem. Hunter had no experience doing business in Ukraine at the time, but was hired as a director of Burisma and received an advisory fee of $50,000 per month. And a year later, Burisma sent a thank you email to Hunter Biden. Dear Hunter, thank you for inviting me to the DC and giving me the opportunity to meet your father and spend some time together. It's an honor and a pleasure. The problem is that Joe Biden's camp doesn't even deny it. In fact, Biden reportedly met the President Poroshenko and Prime Minister Yasheniuk when he visited Ukraine in December 2015 as a vice president. And he called for the dismissal of Prosecutor General Viktor Shokin, who was investigating corruption in Burisma, warning that failure to make the $1 billion loan offer he made could be withdrawn. Shokin was actually dismissed after Biden's warning. Trump and the Republican camp have claimed Biden used his power to aid his son's overseas business, but Biden denied any connection with Ukraine. Because he was a corrupt man who even agreed with the European Union, I asked for the dismissal of the Prosecutor General. I never spoke to my son about business abroad. After the initial report, the New York Post revealed a more shocking email the next day. It is an email between Hunter and a Chinese company containing the story of Hunter's legal employment with the Chinese energy company. Huaxin, a Chinese energy company, sent Hunter an email May 2017. They said, in the new company, your position and salary will be determined by this transaction. And his position was chairman or vice chairman. His salary was $850. The final decision was made by Hunter 2 months later via email. Hunter agreed to share half the stake in the new company in exchange for $10 million in advisory and referral fees per year. Ye Jianming was a big shot called as the oil king in China, but Huaxin Group went bankrupt in 2018, and Ye Jianming was arrested and nobody knows his whereabouts. The Huaxin Group has also established relationships with oil companies in Ukraine and Russia through One Belt and One Road. He also emerged as a cover of Fortune magazine by building the Huaxin Group into a global energy company. Ye Jianming has offered Hunter $40 million to help him join the Louisiana natural gas project in the U.S. Additionally, Ye Jianming founded a subsidiary called Hudson West 3 and offered Hunter $48 million in management consulting. When Ye Jianming was arrested for investment by the Huaxin Energy Group, President Trump said the relationship between the CCP and Biden should be investigated. Joe Biden's camp could no longer completely refute the scandals that were being exposed every day. They made no serious attempt to identify Hunter's hard drive, published by the New York Post, as a counterfeit. In addition, Biden camp stated that while Joe Biden never had a formal contact with energy companies in Ukraine and China, the possibility of an informal relationship cannot be ruled out. These emails were found in a MacBook entrusted a computer repair shop in Delaware, Biden's hometown, in April last year. The New York Post explained about the MacBook. The MacBook, which was damaged by water and repaired, had a Joe Biden Foundation sticker on it. The owner of the repair shop copied the hard drive and gave it to an attorney for former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani, one of Trump's closest collaborators. He later handed it over to us. Former New York Mayor Giuliani said, "It took 3 weeks to check the contents of the hard drive copy. We conducted an email review with attorney Robert Costello to compare the handwriting of the notes on the hard drive with Hunter's handwriting and the details of the unspecified conversation with confidential information obtained from other sources. Former Mayor Giuliani released all the data to the New York Post on October 10th, and the New York Post reported it after a fact-checking process. With the presidential election just around the corner, the Biden scandal continues to pull. But the mainstream American media, with the exception of Fox News, has minimized or delayed coverage. In a 90-minute question and answer session at Joe Biden's town hall meeting, he said nothing about Hunter's hard drive. Twitter and Facebook are also actively preventing the spread of Biden's scandal. According to Reuters on the 15th, Facebook and Twitter banned news related to Biden's son. Links to the article cannot be published because it violates regulations. White House spokesman McEnany, Trump's support group, and Republican lawmakers were also prevented from posting the news on Twitter. White House spokesman McEnany strongly protested this practice, saying that such a thing would only be accepted and done in China and North Korea, not the US. Meanwhile, Republican Senator Ted Cruz said, "This is a clear violation of electoral law." When Sohrab Jamari learned that even himself, the editor of the New York Post, couldn't post this news on the Twitter, he was furious. Facebook and Twitter say that Biden's scandal could be information illegally revealed by an hacker, and that article cannot be published until the review is complete. But Biden's relation with China doesn't end there. After Joe Biden became vice president, Hunter connected to the CCP for his father. In December 2013, Vice President Biden and his son Hunter visited Beijing with a U.S. Air Force plane and stayed there for about 10 days. During the stay, the state-owned subsidiaries of China Bank and the U.S. investment firm Rosemont Seneca Partners founded a joint venture fund between the U.S. and China, Bohai Hume, with an investment of US $1 billion. At the same time, Hunter received a large amount of investment from the state-run Bank of China, although he had no investment experience. According to corporate information from Bloomberg, Rosemont Seneca Partners is one of the largest U.S. investment companies in China, and its CEO is Hunter Biden. Bohai Hume is investing in a facial recognition platform called Face++, which has sparked social controversy as the Chinese authorities monitor residents of the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. In October last year, President Trump said the investigation of Biden as his son into the matter should go ahead. And nobody knows if it was a pure coincidence when Hunter said he would be leaving his Bohai Hume board of directors immediately. At the time, President Trump sharply criticized that China dealt with Biden and gave his son $1.5 billion. President Trump has called Joe Biden Beijing Biden, and Biden's victory would be a victory for China. When the link between Biden and China was exposed, the Chinese media stayed calm on the surface, saying the US would take a tough stance on China no matter who gets elected. But China was in an emergency. Everyone in the world knows that if a president were re-elected, the collapse of the CCP would accelerate. On the first day of the New York Post coverage, Xi Jinping, who was visiting Shenzhen, Guangdong province, was so shocked that he began to cough badly during his live speech. He then cancelled the rest of the schedule and immediately returned to Beijing. Thanks for watching. Be safe.